You can make a difference. You can give hope to a
Welcome to another episode of One-on-One. My name is David Staal, and in a moment I'm going to tell you who I'm joined with today. But first I want to share a little story. One day when the little guy I mentor and I were walking to a new location for our hour together, he stopped me and he said, "Mr. Dave, are we going to Principal Blanding's office?" And I said, "Yes," because we were headed to a small empty office right next to the principal. He looked at me and he said, "I don't know if I want to go there." And he looked and he said, "Because I smell trouble." I had to convince him, no, we're not actually going to the principal's office, we're going next to his office. And for the rest of the year, that was okay with the little guy I mentor. So today we're actually joined in the studio by Principal Kathleen Ramirez. And the reason I wanted you to be in the studio with me today was because I really did not want to go to your office to meet you. So thank you for being here with us. And the reason that I invited you to be here is because a lot of our mentors and our prayer partners too never have a chance to interact with a principal. If they see you, it's waving hi in the hallway or something. So I wanted to sit down and just have a conversation with you and ask you questions that maybe might be on the heart of a mentor or prayer partner who's associated with Kids Hope USA. Does that sound all right?
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay. Share with us for a moment what you observe in the children who are mentored, the impact on them when their mentors aren't around. So back at school when the mentors aren't there, because you interact with kids all day long,
Right.
every day. So what's some of the difference you see in kids that maybe our mentors and our program directors don't ever have a chance to see?
Some of the differences that I have seen, and I'm still getting to know the children, and which ones are being mentored, because that's, but as I get to know more and more, the one thing I see is confidence. I really see a boost in some of these children in their confidence. And just having that adult that they can interact with, that cares about them. Because really what it comes down to is relationships. And just in an education, being a teacher. I always tell my teacher, the first thing, before you teach anything, before you open a book, you work on that relationship with these kids. You got to know them. Once you know these children one-on-one and you know who they are, then you can teach them. Unfortunately, in our busy lives, you go home and parents don't even, have the time sometimes to even ask the child, "How was your day? Tell me, what's good, what's bad." And that's where I see the mentors.
Sure.
They will sit down and have that relationships piece with them, and they'll, talk to them. And sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's happy, but just to have, okay, I know you're going to be with me on Monday at 10 o'clock, and I can't wait because I have so much to tell you. And so I think, again, having that relationship piece, and that builds the self-esteem in these kids, that builds confidence, which then academically and socially, that it just shows in that area too.
Well, that's so refreshing to hear that the Kids Hope students have confidence even when their mentor isn't there.
Yes.
And that speaks to my heart too as a mentor, that I love the fact of picturing my little guy having confidence walking around the school even on the days when I'm not there. So now let's switch scenarios a little bit here.
Okay.
Let's say you're in a room full of colleagues and peers, other principals, and they say, "Well, Kathleen, you have a Kids Hope USA program. What would you say to them about the program? Would you convince them to ask for one also, or tell us, what would you share with your colleagues about Kids Hope?"
First thing I would say is do it. You need to have this program in your school. And it's, as an administrator, it doesn't take anything from, it doesn't require any additional work for me at all. I do connect with Mary Ann and Jody Schneider, so I'll have meetings with them occasionally. Mary Ann will check in, how are things going? That I love, But as an administrator, it doesn't require any additional time for me. And I would say absolutely to do it. You cannot not do it.
Yeah.
You can't, I don't think of the word, but you just need to do it because it's so, so powerful.
And is it a safe assumption that with the all the budget cuts and financial strains that are being placed on our public education system, that programs like this and the role that mentors play in kids' lives is even more important this year than it has been in years past?
Oh, absolutely. Even at West, we have what is called instructional assistants. We're not going to have as many this year. And again, so yeah, I mean, just to have, that in our school and helping the children, which doesn't cost me anything,
Right,
so it's a
right.
win-win.
Yeah, it's a very budget-friendly program,
yes,
isn't it?
Absolutely. How can you say no to free, right?
Yeah.
With that. But the other thing that, as a principal, that I love is I love them in my building. I love community members coming into our building, seeing who we are. I mean, my doors are open, and I'm proud of who we are. And I want the community to see that.
Now, I'm a mentor, and like I said, me and my little guy have a little bit of an aversion to the principal's office. But as a principal, do you like to hear from mentors? I'll wave and say hi to the principal in the hallway, but do you like to hear from mentors? And if so, what would you like to hear if you ever are stopped by a mentor or have a mentor talk with you?
First, the mentor connects with the teacher first.
Right.
Which is the most important thing because
Sure.
they're working with the student academically, socially. So that's the first connection. But as far as myself, what do you see at West? As a community member, as a taxpayer of Holland.
Okay.
When you're in our school, what are you seeing? What do you like? And a lot of times you only hear the negatives sometimes as a principal.
Yeah.
No news is good news sometimes.
There we go. There we go.
When you're in my building, what are you seeing? Because I'm one set of eyes.
Right.
We have over 70 mentors in our building, and I would love to hear, what they think our needs are. What do they think the needs of the children are? What can we do better?
Right.
And what are we doing well?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a really important piece there as far as principals would love to hear what's going well in the school. What are some positives? Because I'm sure you probably receive so many complaints and, this isn't happening and this and this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an opportunity to, build into the principal's heart too.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
So that's a good hint right there. Well, Kathleen, you've shared a lot of great information for us, a lot of great perspective. Now what I'd like you to do is share an encouraging word to mentors.
Yeah, when you sent me the questions, and I was reading them, I thought, what could I really say? And then something just came to me a few months back. Two of my teachers, Mrs. Hildebrand and Mrs. Witters, gave me this little starfish. And they also gave me a poem in a frame, to have in my office. And they said, Kathleen, this is you. And so I thought, if possible, I'd like to share the little poem.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I think it's just something that really speaks to what, the mentors are doing. Because sometimes you don't see it.
Right.
Sometimes I'm sure mentors might walk away and say, oh my goodness, did I even accomplish anything during this hour?
Right, did I make a difference?
Exactly, and I just don't see it, and I just, and want to give up. So if you don't mind, I'd
Sure.
like to read this.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, this is called the Starfish Poem. Once upon a time, there was a wise man who used to go to the ocean to do his writing. He had a habit of walking on the beach. Before he began his work, one day he was walking along the shore. As he looked down the beach, he saw a human figure moving like a dancer. He smiled to himself to think of someone who would dance to the day. So he began to walk faster to catch up. As he got closer, he saw that it was a young man, and the young man wasn't dancing. But instead, he was reaching down to the shore, picking up something, and very gently throwing it into the ocean. As he got closer, he called out, "Good morning, what are you doing?" The young man paused, looked up, and replied, "Throwing starfish in the ocean." I guess I should have asked, why are you throwing starfish in the ocean? The sun is up and the tide is going out. And if you don't throw them in, they'll die. But young man, don't you realize there are miles and miles of beach and starfish all along it? You can't possibly make a difference. The young man listened politely. Then he bent down, picked up another starfish, and threw it into the sea. Past the breaking waves and said, it made a difference to that one. And so as a principal, sometimes, when I get discouraged, and am I making a difference? And
Right.
I wear the necklace and I look at my little saying in my office. And so what I would say to the mentors, you are making a difference. Just being there for these children, you are making a difference. And even though on days that you might not think so,
Yeah.
and you might walk away frustrated and think, really, did I accomplish anything today
Right,
with
right.
this child? But you do. And that's how we have to look at it. And it's really one child at a time. And we might not see it today. Might be a year, it might be 10 years, but it does make a difference. And so I would say to the mentors, thank you. Thank you for all that you do.
As we had talked about earlier, Kids Hope USA has for a few months now been using this theme, hope is ... And so we've been asking people to complete that sentence. So I'm going to put you on the spot right here, Kathleen, and say, please complete the sentence, hope is ...
David, as I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, hope is. And I was thinking, okay, hope for me, right? So I went to the dictionary, being an educator.
Okay.
Right? We go to the dictionary and find a definition. So the definition is hope is the state which promotes the desire of positive outcomes related to the events and circumstances of one's life. So what my hope is might be different than what your hope is. But then I look to those children in my building now, those 730 kids, and I look at what hope for them would be. And it's going to look very different for every one of them. Hope might be, boy, I hope I get an Xbox for Christmas. Hope might be, oh, I hope mom's home when I get home from school. Hope might be, oh, I hope I have dinner tonight. Or, hope might be, I hope someone at school cares for me. I have a story of one little girl, and she was outside waiting to come in. And I was walking in the building, and I saw that she was crying. I was like, oh, what's up? What's going on? Well, I didn't get my math homework done, and I'm going to be in trouble. And my mom was yelling at me, so they got in an argument on the way to school. And so I was like, okay, and it was on math. Of course, I love math.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I tell you what, why don't you come inside and let's sit down together and see what we can do. So I sat down with her, and we went through all of it. It was on money, so she didn't really understand, the concepts of 50 cents, 25 cents. So we went through all that and got it all done. And after that, she looked at me and just gave me the biggest hug. And she said, oh, thank you. So hope for her that morning was, I hope I don't get in trouble from my teacher because I didn't get my homework done. So hope is a plethora of things as I look at children.
Today it's been such a pleasure to hear from you, hear straight from your heart, and like I said, it encouraged me quite a bit. I'm sure it encouraged everybody who's watching today to hear from a principal about not only how much she notices the Kids Hope USA program, the impact on kids, as well as the impact that adults are making in terms of increasing the love that's happening in the school, but also to hear about a principal's love for her kids too. So that's somewhat of a theme that emerged from today, is the love that mentors share, the love that the educators have, and that's really the common ground that we're using to reach kids, because we know that in an abundance of love, lives will change. And when you change a life, it's no small change.